Oh, welcome. This is Megabit Misfits. I am one of three great hosts. I am King ReyRey. We just wanted to bring a cool show to you guys about video games because we are video gaming misfits. And let me introduce my other two hosts. I'm going to go first with the guy who wanted to start everything off brand new, Mr. Ivan Ravage Martinez. Introduce yourself, Ivan. How you doing, bro?
What's up, man? How you doing? This is Ivan Ravage. Long time. We've made music together. We're doing podcasts together now. Got a long history. We're going to get into some of that today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then I'm going to introduce number two, but not number two or number three, but he's an equal host, Mr. LeeBoyXP. Introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah. It's LeeBoyXP. You already know what it is. I'm starting just like how we used to do our raps. But yeah, this LeeBoyXP chilling out with the Megabit Misfits. Damn, I messed up.
It's all right. It's called the Megabit Misfits. It's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it, bro.
My dyslexia is kicking in.
So everybody, this is a brand new podcast. This is a brand new show. And like Ivan touched on before, we've known each other for years. And this is our introduction video. This is our introduction podcast just to obviously introduce ourselves as the Megabit Misfits. Mr. Ivan over here is a music producer from New York, from the Bronx. Mr. LeeBoyXP is also another music producer, but also a songwriter. Also Ivan is a songwriter as well. And then me, I used to just mess around as much as possible and feed off these
come on now.
Creatively.
You was a songwriter too. Stop it. You're selling y'all short right now.
But you guys were like the main ones. You know that shit. You know you guys were the main ones. I was just thrown in there because I just happened to be okay. But these guys have music online that you should actually give a chance.
Lying to y'all. I don't know why he doing
this. Anyway, we started a podcast together because we've been friends for so long. We're like brothers. Damn it. How long have we? 20-something years, right?
Yeah, man. It's been a long time.
Wow.
Long time.
Yeah, it's been over 20 years if you count the 90s, bro. It's over 20 years.
Wow. So 20 years. We look good for our age.
We look great.
We look
some pretty motherfuckers.
Shit. Anyway, so we've known each other for so long. We definitely went into the music thing. We definitely just had a great friendship throughout all these decades. I'm gonna say it that way, decades. And what we've always loved video games from the very beginning. We've loved video games. It's been an obsession of ours. We come and go, from it, away from it, and come back to it because life. Yeah. Two of us are married. All of us have kids. So we don't have time for other video games, but now we're discussing this podcast to show how much love we have for video games. So does anybody want to kick off on what was the first video game system you guys had?
Hold on, real quick. Before we jump into all that, it's funny that you brought up the music thing because we made music for a long time, but we used to make beats on something.
Oh, you want to go there?
That's a nice segue in.
Okay.
So beautiful segue. What we used to use was on PlayStation. It was called Music Generator.
Oh, the MTV Music Generator, yeah.
MTV Music Generator, yep.
Yeah, we used to make a lot of music on there. Made all the
beats. I think we mastered that program back in the day.
Man,
don't ask me to play it now because I forgot all the buttons. I don't even have a keyboard in front of me right now. I can't even tell you what the fuck I'm doing. Anyway,
pause this keyboard before we started. Shame.
So anyway, but yeah, so we used to use Music Generator on the PlayStation, but the PlayStation wasn't our first original. I mean, maybe at least not mine. Was not our first original console that we fell in love with.
Right.
Ivan, what was your first console that you had or video game apparatus that you had?
When I was little, my parents bought me this little, it was like a little handheld, I forgot the company that used to make them, but it was like a little, just the lights in the background. It was like a little car and it would just drive and you couldn't like bump. You had to like move left or right from bumping into things and all that stuff. And that was the first video game memory that I have. And that was probably when I was like 4 years old. And it was just
it was probably one of those little ones that had like only
like about the Tiger Electronics.
It was pre-Tiger. Tiger Electronics weren't even around yet. This is before Tiger. This is way before then. And it was just a scrolling screen. Huh?
What was before
Yeah,
Tiger?
what the hell was before Tiger?
But Tiger Electronics had already with the LEDs popping up on the LCD. Sorry, the LCD screen
Yeah.
with the pre-drawn graphics and all that stuff. This didn't have any pre-drawn graphics. This was just lights that would cycle through, and it would project onto the screen. And all you could do is just move the little plastic car left and right. And that was my first video game thing. After that, it was probably a Atari 2600.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Sorry,
That's harsh. I'm sorry. that up down. That's harsh.
I've never even seen an Atari 2600 in real life.
Oh, I've had several. I just keep getting rid of them like idiot.
Oh man.
Damn. What about you, Mr. Lee Boy? Your first console or apparatus that video game obsessed your soul?
Oh, come on now. It gotta be the NES. Gotta be.
Yes.
Even though I'm a Sega head, anybody that knows me, I'm a Sega head. But the first console, that NES, that blew my mind. And when I was like, yo, Mom, I gotta have this. Mario, I need that. I need that in my life. I need some of that. Duck Hunt, we go up to the screen with the gun and just hold it there. when the birds would fly up cheating, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was the NES. Me, my first system.
I got the duck, son. I got the duck. Blah.
For real, just straight up to the camera. Bow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So ball with a brush. But anyway. But
yours, man.
You gotta trim. You gotta comb the beard. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, it was the NES. What about you?
Me, honestly, I'm gonna have to go NES as well. But all right, so short but kind of funny story. So my brother, my oldest brother, had the NES system. I was too young for it. They thought, we didn't want to spend, because the NES at that time was like $300 or $250 or something like that to get the console. And he had the combination Mario and Duck Hunt. Remember that it just came on one cartridge at one time whenever you bought it?
Right.
That was like the original one, the way it came. And so he bought that. My brother had it hooked up, and he told me never to touch it because I was like a little destructive walking ball of chaos. I would just destroy everything. So he told me, if you touch my NES, I'm going to whoop your ass. He would constantly tell me that. And I'm like 8 years old or 9 years old. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it. The second he walked out that door, all the time. And then, but the game that really got me obsessed was he used to play a game called Top Gun based off the movie with Tom Cruise. So Top Gun, whenever that song came on, but in the digital version, that shit, I was like, I must play this game. Let me tell you, I don't know
when you had to land the plane and get fuel out the sky.
Yeah,
man, I hated that shit.
I've never played this game, man. Never played it.
This game was a big hit at one time because of that movie. And that was my brother's favorite game. And the thing is, I would play this shit until the point where it got burnt out. The cartridge itself burnt out. And then when it stopped working and you just had like the and like those crooked lines, the digital crooked lines, I'd be like, oh,
oh, they don't know about that. They don't the put it under your shirt and blow through the damn cartridge. And
the thing is that it didn't work.
Alcohol. Oh damn,
Lee, I burnt out the chip. It was hot. The plastic was hot. So what I did was I put it back in the little black sleeve, put it back in the box, closed it up, put it my brother used to hide it in the closet, and I just woke about my merry day. And then that night when he came back, I think that night he didn't play, but the next day he was off from school and off from work and whatever, blah, blah. And he was playing, and the second he put it in, he would just scream out, "Ray!" And I'm like, and I'll be like running next to my mom and I hold on to my mom's leg, like, "Hi, Mom, I love you, Mom. Don't let me go." Because mind you, even though I'm like twice as big as my brother now, at that time he was 3 times as big as me, and he would whoop my ass. But the game that got me obsessed with video games was Top Gun, Mario, and NES system.
So that was the game that got you obsessed with gaming, even though your first system was the NES, right?
Yeah, no, because we had it for NES. That was like the third or fourth game we had. But after then, I just after that game, I wanted to play more and more and more. And I actually went out and said, "Oh, please get me the next system," which was Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And Nintendo.
So
me,
let
I was a Sega kid. I used to fight that Sega was better than Nintendo at the time.
same here.
I
I
hated
was
the
about to
controller.
ask. I was about to ask Ivan, so if Ray said Top Gun was his game that got him into gaming, what was the game, not system, but game that got you into gaming?
I'm sure. Wait, let me guess. Let me guess it. Let me just guess his game.
Okay, go ahead. Guess his game.
Castlevania.
Close, but no, that wasn't the one that got me
man.
hooked. For me, it was NES Tetris.
Whoa.
Just playing and Tetris on the NES. My fingers would burn down to the skin just playing that shit all weekend long. Because we family couldn't afford to buy games like that, so we'd rent games, and every weekend we'd go and just at the video store. We used to rent games for like $3, and I'd have it for the 2 days. That was the only thing we were allowed to have 2 days. Movies and tapes we had to return. But games you had for the weekend. So. And my fingers hurt so much after that, man. That game was a first obsession, I swear. Never got it for Game Boy.
Never got it for Game Boy.
Never got it for Game Boy because that was the game that made Game Boy big, but never got it for Game Boy.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Tetris blew up Game Boy. Actually, Game Boy blew up by itself, but yeah, Tetris was the #1 game for that thing.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, I never would have expected Tetris just because I know you so much.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that too. That took me for
you
a
love
loop
like
too.
the
Oh man, I'm
yeah.
borderline Tetris master now to this day. I can go back for the most. I think I've beaten everybody that has played against me on Tetris here.
I feel the same way about Connect 4. But that's that's a board game. We'll have an episode about board games sometime sooner or later, I guess.
Lee, what was yours, man?
Well, Mario got me into gaming, but it wasn't the thing that like locked me in because I just love. I had a gazillion Nintendo games, a ton, but what really sealed the deal.
Solidified.
Solidified. Thank you.
Solidified.
The deal was Sonic, the first Sonic game for Sega Genesis. From then on, I just knew I just want to always play games.
Yeah.
From that point on, I mean, I had to bite earlier, but like nothing was really my favorite because I had so many games. But like I literally had a whole bag full of Nintendo games, and I had favorites out of those. But it was like when Sonic 1 for the Sega Genesis came out, it was like I needed that. Like I gotta have that, and that was the game that locked me in, and I never looked back from there.
Nice.
That's cool. And honestly, I never got into Sega too much. I never got into Sonic too much. I did play them from time to time. I think actually when we were younger, and I would go to one of your houses, we would play from time to time a Sonic game or something along those lines. Once we went with a PlayStation 2 days at that time.
Right.
Yeah,
but do you remember? Do you guys remember the slogan for Sega? Let me see. Oh snap! He remembers. Yep. Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Genesis does
16-bit sports action.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis does.
Get Joe Montana free, Pat Riley free, Buster Douglas free, Super Monaco GP free, or Collins free. What Nintendo don't.
Nintendo do, but do. So it's Nintendo. Sega does what Nintendo don't.
But Nintendo won those wars, right?
Yeah, it did.
They won those wars. Nintendo versus Sega.
Sega's
consoles.
Overall, they won the war, yes, but we had some bangers.
No, I'm not denying Sega's rise to greatness, but Nintendo won.
16-bit era, Sega had it locked from the beginning, and then Nintendo came up behind and.
Nintendo cheated with Donkey Kong. Now I didn't believe that was 16-bit. You couldn't tell me back then that joint looked too crisp to be 16-bit. Donkey Kong, nah, that joint looked crazy.
Yeah, kind of.
That shit was 60 frames per second at 1999.
Oh man,
I think they're re-releasing it.
They're doing a new one that's coming out for the Switch.
Oh, okay.
For the Switch actually.
I don't know if it came out already. Yeah, it might have came out. I don't know.
Shoot, man.
Could be.
Yeah, right now I'm trying to think back to like certain games that kept the addiction to video games going.
Oh, I got one. Again, going back to Nintendo, another oddball one that me and my sisters used to play a lot is Snake Rattle and Roll. I don't know if you guys ever remember that game. It was these weird.
Yo, you surprising me right now. With
Yeah,
all
that's an odd one. I'm just
everything.
thinking back of old games back in the
Everything
80s.
you're
When
throwing out, this is surprising me with, man.
man, we used
Snake,
to
Rattle, and
me and
Roll.
my sisters because I would try not to let them play. You know, I always give them the shitty controller, and I'd have the good one, and we'd just go or disconnect the controller and
You'd have it, you'd have it semi disconnected, like oh,
kind
I'm
of
winning.
but not all the way. Yeah. And yeah, we used to play this game, Snake Rattle and Roll, and that was another addicting game, just because it was a hard as hell game, and it was like it wasn't straight on, it wasn't side scrolling or anything like that. It was just like fake 3D, and you had to you played these two snakes, and you had to just eat these little balls, and you'd have to get your tail longer to weigh enough on the scale to open the door to the next area. But it was kind of like a 2.5D fake 3D thing where it looked pretty cool, where you'd come toward the screen or away from the screen. And it was pretty cool for Nintendo at the time.
You could probably still find it somewhere on an emulator or something.
Yeah, for
I don't
sure.
know why, for whatever reason, I thought you was talking about Skate or Die. Remember that game, Skate or Die? It was
Yeah,
way
Skate or Die.
before Tony Hawk and all that other stuff. Skate or Die was crazy.
I don't, but that was
Nintendo.
Nothing skating that I ever even remotely get into. I remember I played Tony Hawk later in life, and I was like, okay, it's fun. I don't see the obsession. But now for me was the Metal Gear Solid games.
Yeah,
always was I obsessed with them from the first one to the well, how many games they made? 6 total. The last one they had, was it 5 or 6?
There's probably about 7 or so, just because there's a couple of like offshoots and stuff like that.
Yeah, you talking about the original one from Nintendo?
Yeah, like
from
all the way from Nintendo.
Series in general.
The series in general, like from Nintendo all the way to like the last one that they had. The last one I officially played from the Metal Gear Solid series was, I think, I can't remember if it was 5 or 6, but he was in the desert and it was open world.
Yeah, that's 5, the Phantom Pain. That game was great.
Right, Phantom Pain. Yeah, so that's the last one that I played.
That's 5. Yeah.
Yeah, so then before that was a Snake Eater, and I think they're remaking Snake Eater now.
Yeah.
They're remastering Snake Eater. Snake Eater was fantastic. I love that game. All 5 of them. I didn't really play the spin-offs. I know they had one with that blonde dude who was like part cyborg and the sword or whatever. He was slicing people.
Vengeance.
Yeah, I didn't really get into that one too much, but the Metal Gear Solid games.
That game kind of played like a Ninja Gaiden at the time, where it's like fast paced, like Devil May Cry almost. Just futuristic. It was pretty cool.
And then I'm knowing you guys have a touch of love for horror. So do I. Like the Resident Evils, the Silent Hills. And for me, I'm sorry, no disrespect to anybody. I think the Silent Hill, at least 1 and 2, were better than a lot of the Resident Evil games, except for maybe like 6 and 7.
When you're getting into like horror stuff, you're either jump scare horror, which is Resident Evil, and then there's like the suspense and actual tension, which is
psychological.
The
Silent Hill. Yeah, the Silent Hill thing, walking through a town of the mist, and you hear kids laughing.
Love that game.
They creep this shit out of.
I got one for you. Who remembers? Because you're talking about horror, right? Who remembers Friday the 13th for Nintendo, the original one?
The NES, yeah, man, that was great.
I rented that from the store. Remember how we talking about the weekends? You would get that game and have it for the weekend and play it. Man, I ran that game to the ground, and I always picked the black kid because he jumped higher and ran faster than everybody. And I just find that a little funny. You know what I mean? He did. I'm dead serious. Ask anybody. You can Google it. The black kid ran faster and jumped higher than all the characters in the game.
All right.
Yeah, that was a good game. That game, I don't think I ever got past like the 3rd level of that game. The game was fucking hard.
I've never even played it.
It was crazy. The game was crazy because you had to upgrade your weapons. That's how you kill Jason.
Matter of fact, did they ever make a horror game off of Freddy?
Yeah, they had a Freddy crew.
Sure
Nightmare on Elm Street back for Nintendo. They did, yeah.
Yeah, Damn,
Remember,
I
they
gotta look that
let
up.
Nintendo. You know how they are with licenses, so they had the Power Glove in one of the movies. So I'm pretty sure he had his own game.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You ever played Clock
Yeah,
Tower?
I heard of
Not-
it, never played it.
Yeah, Clock Tower. I couldn't remember for a second. Yeah, it started on PC and then later on went to like PlayStation and other systems and things like that. But it's like it was all story driven, but it was like side scrolling. And then every now and then they'd have this guy come out with like these scissors, these giant scissors, like and just follow you and chase you and things like that. And you'd have to like run in certain rooms to try and hide or like find a weapon to defend yourself and all that stuff. If you could trip him, you could have time to get away. It was great game, just a weird, just an odd, strange, good horror game, because you never knew where this guy was coming from. And then the sound effects on that game were great, just trying to like raise your tension and suspense and all that stuff as when he's following you, and it was good.
Yeah, they got a lot of following behind that when it came out, Clock Tower.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question: what can the people expect from the Megabit Misfits here?
We're hoping to be able to give you guys updated news content and commentary on what that news is, and just be able to give you guys as much information as we can. We're going to try and constantly keep you guys updated and informed as to all the different news things from the different industries, from all the different companies and all the systems and PC ports that are coming out and our interests on that.
Yeah, well, the main focus, I think, is going to be taking value from the video game world. Just like Ivan said, all the news, the context of anything that's going to be coming out, released, re-released, remastered, indie games, AAA, AA, whatever we can possibly get our hands on and information about to share with everybody and make fun, honest content. Honest being the number one thing. We don't want to like BS anybody. I don't want to curse too much, but we're not going to BS anybody or take favorites or sides or whatever. Just bring you the actual news and the sources from where that information comes from.
Sounds good. That sounds real good.
Yeah,
I'm on board. Are you on board?
And we're all on board, man.
Yeah, everybody better like and subscribe because we're putting a lot of effort into this.
Oh yeah.
We're doing everything we possibly can to do the best we can for you.
Hopefully, if everything goes well, we're gonna also try and do some gaming streams together and try and just have fun, just us hanging out and playing games together and just being stupid, just
having fun.
And a real important thing is that we also want to a community built that would keep us on our toes. So like once you guys subscribe, to anybody out there who likes us enough to subscribe and follow on any one of the platforms, because we have a Facebook, and Instagram, we have YouTube, what's the other one that we have, a Blue Sky. We want everybody to follow and ask questions. Ask questions. Hey, what do you guys think of this? Hey, what do you guys think of that? Hey, can you guys get your hands on this game and try out this game or play this game or whatever? And we're going to try to get back to as many questions as we possibly can from whoever follows us. And
also, I hope they send us clips.
Yeah.
Send us hilarious clips.
Yes,
send us outrageously crazy trick shots or things that you feel is impossible in gaming so we can react to it and give you guys our take on it, because it's going to be funny.
I mean, if they start sending in clips, right, that are really funny, we're gonna be giving out shout outs. I know everybody wants shout outs. So if you guys have your own little channel, your own little gaming, send us your funny clips and we'll laugh at it, obviously, and talk about it, and then shout you out. So that way we all build together. You know what I mean? I think that's a good way to grow.
If you're interested in sending us information or clips or anything like that, send it to megabitmisfits@gmail.com. We'll make sure we take a look at it and we'll post what we can.
All right.
Yep.
All right, Ray, wrap it up. Take us home.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. This is the intro episode of Megabit Misfits. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, we're going to be on all the major platforms. We want to shout you guys out. So we're going to have to, come up with the best content we possibly can. We're going to need your help. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching the first episode. Peace out.